So recently I feel like I'm completely lost. Like I just don't have any direction what to do. I'm hopeful though. There's just this feeling of I'll figure this out.
So I've been listening to a lot of tarot videos recently, and I've been doing shadow work with tarot, and I feel like if I just
to get out of this.
keep healing, if I just keep every time I just try and climb up one side.
I think if I just meditate
and then I try to climb up another side.
Will's just a carrot thing, right? I need a solid morning. If I have a solid morning routine at night, if I think I need to meditate
It's
more.
never ending. It's a never ending cycle. It's always the same. It's always the same.
2 years of just spinning my wheels, and I still feel like I'm fucking. Why am I here? What's the point? Joke is that?
I'm going to start this video off by saying that if you are someone who is struggling with feelings of aimlessness, of feeling like your life has no direction, that you have no idea what you're passionate about, you have no idea who you are or who you want to be, this video is definitely for you. For the last 3 years, I've had this theme in my life, this big, grand quest to find my passion, find my life purpose, find out who I'm meant to be, you know. And honestly, I know why it's there. Growing up, you learn to be someone you're not, in the very simple terms, but what this ends up looking like is, you know, we're born, we're put into this world, and instantly we're being told who we should be, who we shouldn't be. We're being told fundamental perspectives, good, bad, right, wrong. We end up being such a product of the environment we've grown up in, whether it be from our parents, our teachers, our friends. We're always being told who we should be, who we shouldn't be. Always being told what box we need to fit into, how we need to show up. And what this does to a kid, when I was in school, I was a complete people pleaser. Because I was so desperate to be liked, I was so desperate to be popular, I was so desperate to be perfect. Liked by everyone, which I'm sure many of you already know is an impossible feat. But nonetheless, I tried, I didn't know any better. And it always starts off with one thing at a time, right? From when you're a baby to school to college to even after school, it's always one thing at a time. You get put on the naughty step when you're young, and you learn, okay, that's bad, I shouldn't do that, because that gets a negative response from my parents, and that doesn't make me feel good. Or these people are making fun of me at school whenever I'm too energetic or not energetic enough, or when I share this about myself, or when I do this, that, or the other. So I'll just change this. I'll just edit this, I'll just alter this, so I can be safe, so I can be liked. It's one thing at a time. And what we don't realize is that every time we do that, we are rejecting ourselves. We are hurting ourselves. We are suppressing ourselves. The most important relationship we have in our life, the one with ourselves, we are constantly tarnishing again and again and again and again and again and again, because we want people on the outside to like us. And what ends up happening is you get to a point where the person you were, it's like they don't even exist anymore. You are so far gone. It's like you're this completely different person. Because of that lack of awareness, because obviously no one teaches us this when we're young. They don't teach us how to be ourselves. They don't teach us how to process these emotions. They don't teach us how, when people make fun of us, it's just them projecting their own pain onto their image of us. So it's nothing to do with us. We don't learn any of this. And because of that, we have no idea how far we've strayed from who we really are. We just think that this facade that we've built up, we think this is who I am. This is who I am. It's as simple as that. But then for many, there comes a point when, I don't know, it's different for everyone, but for me, it was the famous year, 2020. I had a lot of alone time with myself, obviously. I had become someone I didn't like. I had developed a lot of toxic behaviors, a lot of toxic thought patterns, I was holding on to so much anger. And I had to kind of face all that because I couldn't stand that anymore. So I started off by learning how to heal, how to process my traumas, how to let them go. And as I was doing that, obviously a lot of what I thought was me, a lot of my personality was dissolving, was falling away, because obviously these negative beliefs, they had caused me to exhibit a lot of certain behaviors and tendencies towards my outside world, which I thought was just part of who I am, was part of my personality. And I was soon met with what felt like an earth-shattering realization of, I don't know who I am. I have no idea what I want. I have no idea how to relate to so many things now. Like, all of a sudden, so much of my security, my foundation, felt like it had just been swept away, and I was just left with this void feeling. But here's where I give you the good news. You already know exactly who you are. You've always known. You already have all the answers you are seeking inside you. You really do. You really do. You already know exactly what your passions are. You cannot ever truly lose yourself. What happens is we develop belief systems, defense mechanisms. You take so much on, you develop so much baggage. You create this kind of mental fog. Imagine yourself in such a thick fog, like you can't see barely 2 feet in front of your face. That, on the mental level, is what develops from carrying all these beliefs that you've gained from other people. Other people's beliefs, they're not yours. They're not true to you, and that's why they're so heavy. That's why there's so much fog. That's why there's so much resistance. That's why there's so much anger, sadness, anxiety, misery. That's why there's no motivation. Because you don't know where the hell you are. You don't know where the hell to go because you can't see. But it is there. All the answers you have, and you've probably heard this a lot, the answers are within you, all that kind of stuff that even I thought was kind of just fancy, pretty words, but no, literally, you actually have them. So that's the good news. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I get in touch with this inner knowledge? This intuition? You've probably heard that word too, right? Because that's exactly what we're talking about. So how do I get in touch with it? Well, I can tell you from 3 years of trying the mental way, the seeking. Oh, I will, as if you're, seeking through that fog, and you'll find this. You'll put your hand on one thing, and you'll grab it. You'll find it, and all of a sudden, all the fog will disappear, and you're like, "Wow, that's who I am! Oh my god! Now I know everything." Doesn't happen like that. At least not in my experience. No, the way you find this intuition, the way you find your true self, is you start acting on your excitement. Now, I get it. I don't feel excitement towards anything. What do you mean? We've literally been talking about the fact that I don't know who I am. I don't feel excited about anything. I get it. You have to start small. You're starting from ground zero, right? Just like I was. You start small. And what I mean by that is, whenever you have a free moment, some free time, and before you pick up your phone and start mindlessly scrolling, before you start doing something to try and distract yourself from this boredom you're feeling, pause. Take a moment. Sit with yourself and ask yourself, out of all the options I have right now, what contains the highest amount of excitement? Even if it's a little bit, even if it's just a feeling, right? Of, oh yeah, that could be interesting. That could be cool. Yeah, I fancy going outside. I fancy going for a walk. And this is what I mean. We're talking small. We're talking things like you can, I don't know, in any given moment, you can call a friend. You can read a book. You can make yourself a cup of tea. Right? But what we're doing here is so important because you are practicing acting on what you want. Even if it's tiny like that, even if it's tiny. You are getting out of the space of overanalyzing and overthinking. Because that's what I did. 3 years. That's what my brain was doing. My brain had this fear of wasting time. It had this massive fear. When I explored it, I found out I had this massive fear of me being an old man, looking back on my life and thinking, filled with regret, filled with sadness, filled with hopelessness, filled with misery, thinking, wow, I wasted my whole life. I never did anything I was passionate about. I never found my true passion, right? And the ironic thing is, that fear developed this belief system within me that actively wouldn't let me try anything new. It was the fear, right? The fear of ending up in that scenario caused my brain to think, okay, well, hold on then. We don't want to waste any time, right? We don't want to waste any time. So I want 100% certainty that this is going to be my passion before I invest any time, before I invest any energy into it. That was one of my mental blocks. That perfectionism. I need it to be perfect. I need to seek and seek, and then just as if I was just going to find it, get overwashed with passion. Maybe I'd see something, maybe I'd meditate enough, or maybe I'd watch a movie, or maybe I'd, and then all of a sudden I'd be hit with, oh my god, that's it, and I'll know 100, and then I'd know 100%, right? That this is my passion, and then I can act on it, because then I know. It's the other way around. It is the other way around. And I know this is the same energy that holds so many of us back because we are scared to try. We are scared to try because we don't want to fail. I didn't want to waste time. Didn't want to waste attention. Investing my time in something that maybe, would end up not being my passion, my grand passion. And then all of a sudden, I've wasted a month, a year, 2 years, 5 years on doing this one thing that actually isn't my passion. which is completely paradoxical and idiotic, because if I was genuinely that motivated to work on that one thing and I was really enjoying that one thing for 5 years, then for those 5 years, that was my passion. Because that's the thing as well. I don't think passions are so rigid. That's another idea of the mind, another idea of, I want this stable thing. You may be passionate about something for a week, a month, a year, and then you may have really a lot of fun doing that, and then you may find, oh, actually, hold on. Now I'm passionate about that. And that's what I found as well, by following these little things, by following these little breadcrumbs. You do one thing that's exciting. You experience that energy. You get familiar with acting on that energy. And it leads to another excitement. And that leads to another excitement. And that leads to another excitement. I was excited to delete Instagram and Snapchat off my phone because I didn't like the way I was mindlessly scrolling. So I did that. I was excited to give up a bunch of things that I didn't feel aligned with anymore. So I did. And then my friend, he goes by the Untitled Gamer on Twitch. He had been streaming for a while, and I was thinking, oh, that'd be fun. I'd love to try that. I hadn't been letting myself act on it for a while, because of course, But then I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. So I started streaming on Twitch, started playing some video games. Something I never thought I would do before, something I never knew I would do. And I had fun with it. Once I had come off a stream at one point, I then felt, oh, okay, now what am I passionate about? In this moment, guys, moment to moment, I felt, oh, hold on. I fancy watching some anime. Scrolled on Crunchyroll for a second, just looking for something. What am I looking for? Came across My Hero Academia. Oh, I've watched all those, but I felt drawn to a specific episode and I wanted to watch a specific fight scene again. And my brain judged it, it was like, oh, well, really, is that really like the most exciting thing we can think of? Oh, well. And you will get that, you will feel resistance, your mind will kick up a fuss, but I did it anyway. And I watched that episode, and I watched a specific scene from it, a fight scene, where the main character, his classmates were trying to stop him from trying to take on everything on his own, because he felt like he needed to be separated from them in order to protect them. And it was this big emotional fight scene. And I burst into tears. And I know that may sound funny, And in that moment, I remembered that when I was originally first watching the series through, I would cry. Convulsively cry, and I didn't know why. And I never figured it out. I would cry at these big emotional fight scenes where the main character, all he wants to do is help people, and he wants to just spread positivity and hope, and he wants to be a hero. He wants to protect that he loves, and he wants to protect the world, and he wants to make the world a better place. And I used to cry. And I never knew why. And I thought, oh, maybe it's just because it's designed to be an emotional scene. But then I realised other people weren't, just convulsively bursting into tears, Something about it resonated with me. And in that moment, I realised that's what I want to do. I want to help people. And that led me back to what you're watching right now. Brought me back to YouTube. So I knew that's what I want to do right now. That's what I want to do. I want to make a new YouTube video. But I started procrastinating. I felt blocked. And that is the amazing thing about following these breadcrumbs, right? It forces you to face all of that baggage, all of that fog. It forces you up against it all. And it gives you no choice. You have to deal with it. And I know that may sound intimidating, but it is why this is so powerful. You're following your intuition more. You are embodying more of your true self. You are following your inner compass. You are following your inner guidance. Your inner guidance that already knows who you are. Like I was saying, you are following that. And because of that, it is purifying your system. So I felt lost, right? I felt blocked all of a sudden. I was like, oh, hold on. I sat down. I closed my eyes. And I just gave myself some silence. And I asked myself, what's scaring me right now? What's holding me back? I just asked. I didn't think. Be careful. Be careful how your mind might want to jump in. I didn't think about it. I didn't analyze about it. I didn't think, oh, it could be this or it could be that. No. I asked myself the question. And I felt into it. I let myself feel that blockage. And I let it come up. And I started hearing like words. And I started having feelings of hopelessness. I felt like I wasn't qualified to give people advice. Who am I, right? I'm just someone who's been kind of fumbling my way through life. I thought I was a loser, you know? Still living with my family. Working a delivery driving job that even though I love the people, it's not my passion. Who am I? Just someone who's developed gained all these concepts, all these ideas. What if they all turn out to be false? What if I'm sharing bad information? I had all this doubt come up. And this is what you need to do, guys. When you come up against this resistance, you need to let yourself feel it. You need to let yourself feel it. If you feel it coming up and you feel angry, you feel rage, scream. If you feel sad, cry. If you feel anxiety, let yourself be scared. Let this emotion come up. Let the words come up. So I sat there and I was just thinking, and I was just letting all these thoughts come up, and I was like saying, I was verbalizing it out loud, and I was going, who am I, you know? I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I'm all this, and just letting it flow out now. But in the back of my mind, I stayed conscious of knowing that by doing this, I am letting this energy go. When you let it out, you're not giving into it. You're not becoming worse. You are letting that energy out. That energy that has been locked inside your head, locked inside your consciousness. Creating that fog, right? Back to the fog. It all links. It all links, guys. So I let it out. I cried. I came back. I sat down. Set everything up, and I started talking. This is me acting on my passion, guys. It may not seem like much, a YouTube video, right? To a channel that has, I don't even know, 16 subscribers? But I don't care. You know why? Because it excites me. So I know that was very long-winded, but the essence of this message, guys, the essence of what I'm saying is that you need to act on your passion. That is how you find it. You need to get familiar with that energy just by doing those little things, right? And you come up against those resistance and you move through it just like I said. Just like I said. And you let go of it and you carry on. And you'll come up against another resistance. And you let go of it and you carry on. And every time you do that, the fog gets clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. The better it gets, the better it gets. And I'm not even sure what my overall perfect passion is, guys. I don't know what my overall purpose is. My mind, I never found it. I never found it in the way that my mind wanted me to, right? but I have very promising results. And finally, I am back in touch with that genuine passion, that genuine love, that creativity that I feel like I had when I was a young child. And just that is enough, you know? And as I'm doing more of these things that I'm enjoying, by default, I am finding out more about myself. It's all linked. But the steps are simple. And these steps, this method that I've been describing, it's not my method. I didn't come up with it. And it is explained in so much better detail, with added detail. Type in Bashar, the formula, on YouTube after this video. Type in Bashar, the formula. I promise it will add so much value, and it will explain this method in so much better detail than I ever could. Watch it after this video. So I really hope this came across clear, guys. I really do. I know this is a long video. I know this is a bit of a ramble. I know I went on a tangent talking about me crying in anime, but I went on that tangent because I wanted to show you how to kind of live this method, right? The brain isn't going to understand this. It's not going to be structured and logical. It's not going to be like climbing a clear ladder. It's going to feel very much like taking a winding path. But as long as you're consistently following that energy of genuine excitement, genuine like passion, just that intuition, that feeling of being drawn to something, as long as you're following that, you are on the path. So be brave. I cannot stress this enough. Have the courage just to start. You've heard it before, in the self-help community as well. Just start. Yes, you're probably going to fall on your face. You're not going to be perfect at the thing that you maybe feel like you want to do. Your mind will throw you all these different things. Oh, I'm not good enough at it. Oh, maybe that's not for me. No, maybe I shouldn't. Doubt. For me, oh, maybe that's not my passion. I won't even start because I don't feel overwhelmingly drawn to it. I just feel kind of drawn to it. Don't spend all that time thinking, searching, waiting to know when it's safe to move forward. Do it now. Start acting on your excitement now. Start listening to your intuition now. It's quiet at first. It's going to be a small muscle at the start. It's going to be quiet. You're just going to get inklings. But if you act on them, you strengthen it. You strengthen it. You strengthen it. Follow what you think. Oh, yeah, you know what? I like that. Out of all the options I have, that's the one that's drawing me. It is so simple, guys. It is so simple that it is so easy to miss. And I'm grateful for those 3 years. I'm grateful for these 3 years. Because even though it felt like I was in a rut and I was climbing one side of the ditch and falling back down and climbing on the other side and falling back down, even though it felt like that, everything I went through led me to the point where I am right now. To the point where I have finally put this into practice and seen the actual reality of it and the fact that it's true and that it works. And I'm so optimistic about the future. I am so optimistic about my life again. And I want you to feel the same. Alright, guys. And this was the biggest lesson I've learned in 2023. And I hope it serves you well. I really do. I hope you have a wonderful new year. Well, this video will probably come out after the new year. So I hope you have a wonderful 2024. Thank you for watching.